And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. And upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity. And the sea and the waves roaring. There's no doubt about it. It's an exciting time to be alive. Our generation is witnessing the fulfillment of Bible prophecy on a massive scale. As we move closer to the end of days, we are starting to see an undeniable coalescence between Bible prophecy and major events happening worldwide. In fact, the very existence of modern society was foretold in the Bible. Everything from iPhones and internet, to wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, tsunamis, pestilence, riots, revolutions, civil wars, terrorism, economic collapse, meteors, blood moons, eclipses, climate change, inequality, greed, cannibalism, vampirism, DNA editing, transhumanism, and the list goes on. Jesus himself warned us about these times. Quote, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." End quote. It's no secret. Our world today is a direct reflection of the antediluvian age, and what we are seeing right now is the normalization of ideas that have been kept hidden for thousands of years. We are seeing a global resurgence of everything ancient. Ancient ideas like drinking blood, eating human flesh, black magic and sacrifice are now back in the public eye. The New Age religion is spreading across the world like wildfire, corrupting everything it touches. And most people don't even realize that there's nothing new about the New Age. All it is just the ancient Babylonian mystery religions repackaged and sold to the masses as some sort of new idea. Throughout human history, there have been an innumerable amount of prophecies written by an untold number of people. The Mayans, Nostradamus, ancient Indians, and Chinese were all famous for their prophetic writings. However, there is only one book in the entirety of existence to have 100% accuracy: the Holy Bible. The Bible is the only prophetic book ever written that has never made a mistake. This book lays out the entirety of human existence from the very beginning all the way to the end, when God will pour out his wrath upon the face of the earth. Therefore, we must be educated so that we don't find ourselves unprepared on that great and terrible day. Now, there are many prophecies regarding the end of days throughout the Bible, and it would take a year to go over everything. So we're just going to start off with the King of Kings himself, Jesus Christ, and the warnings he gave. There is a general consensus between eschatologists and scholars alike that the beginning of the end of days begins with the words of Jesus Christ and his parable of the fig tree. Quote, "Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his brand is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily, I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled." End quote. What Jesus is saying here is that the generation who sees the fig tree blossom will be the very same generation who sees his return. You see, the fig tree Jesus was talking about was most likely the nation of Israel, and the blossoming of the fig tree was the reforming of the nation in 1948. Psalm 90:10 tells us exactly how long a generation is. Quote, "The days of our years are 80 years and 10, and if by reason of strength they be 80 years." End quote. Meaning, a generation lasts between 70 and 80 years. The state of Israel was reformed on May 14, 1948, making 2019 the 71st year, placing us right smack dab in the middle of this prophetic timeline. Quote, "For you know very well that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying, quote, peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly, as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. But you, brothers and sisters, are not in darkness, so that this day should not surprise you like a thief. We're going to go over a few of the most obvious end times prophecies and see if we can connect them to current events. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. It's obvious. The laws of the land are changing. The 10 Commandments are being replaced by statues of Lucifer, and people all over the world are chanting the same exact phrase. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. It's the mindset that has taken over the world. Under the guise of love and acceptance, this doctrine has become the motto for a new generation. But where does it come from?
Crowley heard an unearthly voice from over his left shoulder. For 1 hour, at precisely the same time over the next 3 days, Crowley said that the voice dictated to him the book of the law, the work that would become the Bible of his new religion.
The book of the law, it just really is ripping up everything. It's ripping up the Bible, it's ripping up the Quran, it's ripping up all the holy books and saying we're starting fresh now. This is the word of the new eon. We're going to peck out the eyes of Christ on the cross. It's very, very blasphemous. It's all about liberation. It's all about having no restrictions at all. You follow your path, you follow your goal in life, and you do that above all else.
The book of the law is the Bible of the religion Crowley was endeavouring to found. A book of inspired writings, whereby Crowley portrays himself as a medium for some higher force. Inevitably, with an egomaniac like Crowley, he finds himself cast in the central role.
The book of the law states, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. In other words, people have the right to determine exactly how to live their lives, regardless of moral and religious boundaries.
The Book of the Law describes a new age coming on this earth, which he called the, quote, Eon of Horus. This prophesied new age would come to fruition when the whole world willingly embraced this new doctrine of, quote, do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And that's exactly where we are today. Crowley's Book of the Law was written by demons. Every single word in that book came from a demon's mouth, and yet it has become the prevailing mindset of this new age we are currently living in. Of course, this is just one of many examples. Our entire world is now filled with seducing spirits. We are under constant bombardment from the other side, and it's become almost inescapable. Next we have Daniel chapter 12, verse 4, quote, But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. End quote. According to the website Statista, 2019 will see a record-breaking number of airline passengers, with a whopping 4.5 billion people, quote, running to and fro. Furthermore, car ownership has reached an all-time high, with more than 1.2 billion vehicles operating worldwide. It's become obvious that this is the time Daniel is talking about. And knowledge shall be increased. It's undeniable. The invention of the internet, smartphones, and Wi-Fi have dramatically changed the world over the past 10 years. The combined knowledge of human history is now readily available on the internet for the whole world to see. We have reached a point of no return. The increase of knowledge has now hit an apex, and it's all downhill from here. With the increase of knowledge came the decrease of intelligence that we are currently experiencing today. Romans chapter 1, verse 22, quote, Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, end quote. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. I'm sure you all are aware of the current social situation we find ourselves in. We cannot even say certain words anymore for fear of offending the wrong person and being ostracized as a result. Hatred and betrayal have become normalized at this point. It's more American than apple pie and baseball. The majority of people have become self-serving, money-hungry opportunists who would gladly throw you under the bus in order to get themselves ahead. They have an open hatred for anything they deem, quote, offensive. And many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. The Greek word used for false prophets is this, pseudo-prophetes, and it can be translated to, quote, religious impostor. Religious impostor. This one should be obvious to a lot of you. In this day and age, it seems like the majority of them are religious imposters, telling people everything they want to hear in order to maximize their portfolios. Not only that, the Pope, who is supposed to be the head of the world's largest religion, sits on his throne surrounded by spirits from the pit. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Iniquity is anything that violates God's laws or commandments, and at this point, that's pretty much everything. They keep pushing the envelope. It's everywhere. All over our TVs, in almost every song, and plastered all over the internet. Billions of people now have unbridled access to the most disgusting materials this world has ever produced. Common courtesy has all but disappeared, and the term Good Samaritan has become a thing of the past. This is the new normal in all major cities across the world. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts. Scoffers. With an estimated 78 million millennials in America, 80 to 85% of them have an open disdain for Christianity and make it their mission to try and criminalize our belief systems by claiming hatred and oppression. Christian values are being systematically snuffed out or replaced with the, quote, do as thou will mindset. Walking after their own lusts. According to Webroot, the, quote, amount of pornographic material available on the web is staggering. Every single second, 28,258 users are watching pornography on the internet. Every single day, 2.5 billion emails containing porn are sent or received. People walking after their own lusts has become a new normal, and people are now encouraged to explore their own sexuality. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. In the midst of all this chaos, something beautiful is happening. Information that has been hidden away for thousands of years is making its way into the light. All of their plans, plots, and schemes are now visible in full detail. We know that the Vatican is a giant snake. We know about the mystery schools and their initiates. We know about the confusion of tongues and how it gave rise to all the world's spiritual systems. We know about the days of Noah and the Nephilim hybrids. We know about the angels who sinned, Mount Hermon, and the Watchers. It's all coming to light, and everything points directly to Jesus. Now, there are hundreds more prophecies pertaining to the end of days, but for time's sake, we're just going to go over one more, and this one comes directly from Jesus Christ himself. Quote, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these things are the beginning of sorrows." It's no secret. There have been wars and rumors of wars occurring since the beginning of time. However, historical events pale in comparison to what is currently happening around the world. With World War III getting ready to kick off at any second, all the nations of the world are taking a war stance. Here are the current and active war zones you may not be aware of: Kashmir, India, Myanmar, Colombia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Nigeria, Iraq, Mexico, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, South Sudan, Mali, Venezuela, Ecuador, Israel, Philippines, Turkey, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, South Africa, Egypt, Central African Republic, Ukraine, Burundi, Ethiopia, Mozambique, Iran, Thailand, Indonesia, Angola, Saudi Arabia, Peru, Shanghai, Azerbaijan, Algeria, Libya, Mali, Tunisia, Western Sahara, Paraguay, Russia, and Lebanon. And these are just the wars we know about. On top of all that, the rumor mill is working hard these days to ensure no one has the full picture. Nations shall rise against nations and kingdom against kingdom. It's like we're in suspended animation at the moment, or the calm before the storm, if you will. The whole world seems to be preparing for something. Tensions are rising in every part of the globe, and anyone with the eyes to see knows exactly where we're heading. There shall be famines and pestilences. Famine might seem like a thing of the past, until you realize that, quote, more than 815 million people in the world were suffering from chronic undernourishment in 2016, end quote. 815 million people. Let's put that into perspective. When Jesus was alive, there were only about 300 million people on Earth total. That means the number of starving people alive today more than doubles the entire population of the planet during Jesus' time. Pestilence. The word pestilence in the Bible means literally a disease. Science Daily reports that, quote, over 95% of the world's population suffer from health problems, and that just 1 in 20 people worldwide, that's only 4.3%, had no health problems in 2013. With a third of the world's population, more than 2.3 billion people experiencing more than 5 ailments, end quote. Not only that, drug addictions are also considered a disease. And according to drugfree.org, quote, 240 million people around the world are dependent on alcohol. More than 1 billion people smoke, and about 15 million people use injection drugs such as heroin, end quote. There are also a plethora of infectious diseases like Ebola that are capable of wiping out a majority of the world's population. Pestilences are everywhere and have become a part of modern life. Earthquakes in diverse places.
Despite what you may have heard in the past, this is the compiled data from the USGS from over the last 100 years. Keep in mind that we're not talking about the millions of microtremors that can now be detected from the distribution of more numerous and sensitive sensors, but strictly data from the larger earthquakes that can be felt by people beginning at 6.3 and up on the Richter scale that could be easily detected by early 19th century sensors from virtually anywhere in the world. This data shows what the USGS and other organizations do not want you to see.
It shows that the earthquakes are increasing in intensity and they are increasing in frequency. This is exactly the description that was prophesied.
Will he find you watching and waiting for his return? Christian, are you ready for his return? Or are you ready now to accept the Lord Jesus as your Savior and be caught up to meet him in the air when he comes for his own?
Thank you all for watching. God bless you all.